understand the reasoning 3. Now in advanced reasoning 3, we are going to do two more interesting topics, which are forces of action and cause and effect. Now basically when I talk about forces of action, obviously you need to act or you take an action only when you have a problematic situation, right? So this problematic situation has to be followed by several possible courses of action. Okay? What you need to do is you need to choose the best possible combination of options or best possible combination of courses of action, right? So you're going to have a problematic situation followed by several things that can solve that situation. You need to find out which is that course of action or which is that solution which is going to address your problem. So let's see, I have an example again. If the faculty members also join the strike, there is going to be a serious problem, right? So this is my question, and to this question or the problem I have three options. First is the faculty member should be persuaded not to go on a strike. Second says those faculty members who join the strike should be suspended. The management should not worry about such small things. So now these are my three options. First, the faculty members, we should persuade them not to go on a strike. Second, whichever faculty members who are going on a strike, they should be suspended. And third, management should not worry about such small things. Now let us see which option will be my scoring option and which is the perfect solution for this problem. So to identify the best course or courses of action, the first thing is first I need to identify the problem at hand. See now again, problem requires an action. Comments, suggestions, assumptions do not require action. So if you read the question well, if you feel that there are some suggestions made, some comments given, they will not require any action. But only a problem will require a course of action, right? Then you will look for courses of actions that are administrative steps. Okay, so you look for courses of actions that you feel take you slowly and steadily towards the solution or towards the resolution, right? We will look for courses of action which will solve the problem. So I'll look for particular courses of action that will solve my problem immediately and effectively. Say suppose the problem is not solvable. So where the problem is unsolvable, like that of COVID-19, we know that this pandemic, when it hit the city, we knew that this is not solvable completely. It is not in our hands, right? So how do we do is we try to minimize the damage by putting in curbs, by putting lockdowns, right? By maintaining social distancing, by maintaining washing your hands, sanitization, masking up, right? So this is how I minimize the damage because the problem is unsolvable. So again, this is also a problem. I need to minimize the damage because already there is a strike, and if the faculty members are going to join, then again it's going to be a serious problem, right? So yes, in this case, my answer will be only one follows. Because obviously, what I can do is only persuade them not to go on a strike. Maybe my persuasion convinces them and they don't go on a strike. So it will not further intensify. If I say faculty members who join the strike should be suspended, if this is done, then obviously it's going to intensify the problem. And it's not a small thing because they've already stated in the question it's a serious problem. So I can't go with the third option at all. So only one follows. So again, a course of action is an administrative step. Your answer choice should fulfill the following criteria. First, it should always address the topic urgently and immediately. A long-term course of action is never effective. You should always look for a shorter and the most effective course of action. It should try to solve the issue at hand, and as I said, if the issue is non-solvable or non-resolvable, then it tries to minimize the damages. It is never drastic except in drastic situations. Now, what do I mean by this? It is not extreme unless the situation is extreme. So if I talk about terrorism or floods or drought, these are extreme conditions. But I can't say prediction of rainfall or maybe, a minor accident on the street. These are not drastic. So you should not take drastic steps in such cases. Is pragmatic, by pragmatic I mean rational, which is practical, and not idealistic. So we are not looking at the dreamy scenario that we should construct our highways on the basis of foreign highways with where we have metros and everything surpassing. This is not something which is practically possible in a country like India. Even if it is, it will take ages and a lot of funds. So it's an idealistic scenario. And it's a response to a situation that is authentic. When I say response to a situation that is authentic, it is response to a situation that is real, right? And we treat it that way. And obviously, we're finding out solutions, so is a result of positive thinking, right? So this was a topic which is forces of action. Now we move to cause and effect. Now, as you know that we need to identify cause and effect relationship between the given two statements. So we have two statements given, and in these two statements, you have to find out whether these two statements are related or not, and if they are related, then cause and effect relationship. So we will have two questions given, question A and question B. Question asks statements, right? So it says the first visit by a Saudi monarch to India is no ordinary event, right? And statement B says it is another confirmation of the decision of the rich desert kingdom to come out of its shell and engage the world as a modern nation, right? So these are my two statements. My answer options will look something like this. I need to examine A and B and find out and decide if statement A is the cause or B is its effect. In this case, I will mark 1. Statement B is the cause and A is the effect. If that's the case, I will mark 2. Both statements A and B are independent causes. In this case, I will mark it as 3. Both statements A and B are effects of independent causes. In this case, I will mark it as 4. And both the statements are effects of some common cause. In this case, I will mark it as 5. Right? So, this is going to be my sequence in which I will mark my answers. Now, obviously, in this case, I can very evidently see that my answer is 2. B is the cause and A is the effect. Because when it says that it is confirmation of the decision of the rich desert kingdom to come out of its shell and engage the world as modern nation, the decision of rich desert kingdom guarantees that it becomes no ordinary event, right? So hence the decision is something which gives you a guarantee that it is not an ordinary event, and thus my answer is option 2. So the cause and effect relationship or its absence, obviously when I read it first, may not be obvious. So now we need to decide whether A, which is the cause, explains B or B explains A. If there is no relationship, then obviously they are effects of independent causes. But if you feel they're just related, then they can be having a common cause. So basically, it's all, and in an effort to find out the relationship between two statements. So one trick, one expert tip from my end is that when you are reading, you try to find out whether they are related or not. Guys, if they are related, the answer has to be A on the first, second, or fifth, which is either common cause or cause and effect. If they're not related, then simply your answer is 3 or 4, which is they are independent causes or they are independent effects, right?